Welcome back. I was just thinking about something from my childhood a bit. I used to watch, it was called Tales from the Dark Side. Sometimes I feel like a bit of that inspired me, along with others like authors Stephen King and Clive Barker, the things that our minds think up, a bit twisted sometimes. Not to get off track, so let us begin. Bloodlines Chupacabra, Chapter 9, Into the Void. Three more voices rang out in the still after Sandra screamed at the top of her lungs. I will kill that fucker if it's the last thing I ever damned well do on this planet. Sandra, angry and irritated with the thing that took her mentally down a rabbit hole of pure hell, was fuming so furious you could almost see the veins bulging in her forehead now, and Cal putting his hand on her shoulder was the only snap back into reality. I can't help it. I am so ready to get this thing and have peace, not just for me, but for Laura's family. It's not just about you and I, Cal. We know this is the only way, and I'm so freaking ready. Yes, absolutely understand, Chupa Bud. You know I want this too, and I won't let my friends down. That's not who I am. It's like when I was in Afghanistan, back when I was still in the Marines. I never left a man behind. Cal looked at her with confidence, knowing she'd find her courage. He could see it in her eyes. Father Santoro was a bit taken back by the outburst, though, held himself with grace as he understood her anger was not directed at himself. He sat down and looked upon the face of a woman who still possessed great strength. He knew this would help, though, could also cause instability if her anger blinded her. A careless mistake would be the death of them. This is the ultimate fight for life or death for all. We must guard ourselves and remember to keep your wits about you. This beast has the innate ability to twist reality, and it will lead to doubt yourselves, and you mustn't let it into your mind, or it will consume your very soul and kill you. Yeah, well, when you say it like that, it definitely puts it all into perspective, Father. I mean, really, I could use a little more, oh, I don't know, a drink might help about now. I'm just saying, as she cocks her head sideways, hand out and making a drinking motion. Father Santoro, his voice was calm as he explained to her, I have no doubts that your hearts are filled with the sense of justice, and for your lost companion, I see you both have pure of heart. This will help us greatly in our fight, but you must hold that back until the very last minute. If you let it feel your hatred, it will feed upon that. Cal looks around and sits back reclined as much as one could on a hard wooden bench. I definitely second that. I could go for a beer. Larry? Larry eyes shift and a slight mischievous smirk appears on his face. Without a second thought there, Cal. And if the fathers would like to join us for dinner as well? Father Santoro eyes lit up at the sound of a good meal as his stomach gurgled. Ah, I would love to. But you see, when I took my vows for the priesthood, I stopped drinking. Although dinner sounds like a great idea, I could eat. They only served us peanuts and crackers on the plane, he said as he rubbed his stomach. The priest gently pats his growling stomach and smiles back at the old ranger. Father Flanagan looks at his old pal. Oh, hell, Larry, if you're paying, I'm ordering steak. He lets out a deep laugh as his old friend joins in. Cal turned to Father Santoro. So you really gave up drinking, eh, Father? Ah, well, good for you. Good to keep a clear head then, right? Sandra sighs as she looks down, then back up towards the sunlight, starting to fade within the stained glass window inside of the church. Father Santoro, I really hate to admit this, but I do admire your courage and strength. I will look to you as the voice of reason when we face this thing head on. You know that I have to admit, I wasn't always the most religious, but I am spiritual. I feel safe with you here. I just wanted you to know that. Father Santoro blushed a bit. Why, thank you, Miss McCoy. I will try and do my best. A coy smile from under that thick black beard appeared. Cal whispering to Sandra, did you just hit on a priest? Or am I just tired? Maybe just a little bit. I mean, he is kind of cute for a priest. And I guess I had a Thornbird's moment, but then again, I should probably mind myself. I don't want to make him uncomfortable, and I'm not like that, just a bit awkward around guys. Cal chuckled a bit while slightly snorting at her shy yet slight bravado nearly hitting on the priest. Yeah, you think? Wink, wink, says Cal. I don't think of you as awkward. You have had a lot going on. Seriously. Look at us chasing down a literal mythological creature, and yet here we are. But I will admit he is a nice-looking dude for a priest. He nudges her in the ribs slightly. Sandra laughed. He was right. They were there, and doing something pretty crazy. You know what? I'm glad that I met you all, and I don't think that I would have had the courage if you hadn't been here. Too, Cal, you kind of remind me of my brother, except he was in the Navy. She makes a crooked, silly face as they walk out of the church together, waiting for the priests and Larry. Once everyone was outside, Father Flanagan locked the doors behind them. There was a click, a sound that felt eerie for Sandra. She had her reasons, as she'd had a bad experience that left her a terrified 5-year-old who literally hated being in a church after one incident with a relative after a wake. Her cousin had decided to pull a prank, locking her in the small room with her grandfather's corpse. It had a profound effect, as no one had even noticed the missing girl until hours later, when she had been found huddled in a corner by a nun who just happened to be there, saying her prayers and her soft crying coming from within the room. Her parents had not noticed with the commotion and gathering of relatives after the wake, thinking she had gone off with one of her aunts until the nun called notifying them. Father Flanagan patted his old friend on the back, probably figuring he could get a few glasses of wine on Larry's tab as well. He turned to the younger priest with a stern face. But what about Larry? I mean, what should he do? That thing went after his grandfather Miguel. Father Santoro had been skirting around their questions with vague answers all evening. Larry knew he had more on his mind than he was telling them. Ah, yes, Mr. Whitfield. I have a special job for you, and I will tell you what it is in the morning. I really should eat and rest, as should you all. Larry sighed, taking his hat off as he stared into the priest's face, searching for the right answers. Oh, hell yeah, Miguel. I mean, Father Santoro. Sorry, meant no disrespect. I am amped up just as much. This thing drove my grandfather to suicide. You know, if Ted hasn't told you, it's just that I too want justice for Miss Gray. Father Santoro could see the sadness in the old man's eyes. There was a feeling of regret. He tried to console Larry as much as he possibly could, knowing it hadn't been his fault. He had been doing his job. There had been no way that he could have known this would happen. Larry turned to the group, holding his hat with both hands, staring at the ground as if he felt ashamed of something he had no control over. I feel so guilty. Oh God, I wish I hadn't taken you all out to that exact location that day, or somehow that thing wouldn't have gotten to her. I do understand, said the priest. I am sorry that this thing has attacked your family, but in due time I will reveal at the moment just I need you to do, but for now we should really rest, need all the energy we can get, and I do suggest a light breakfast. We can't be slowed down by digestion. Father Santoro understood his plight, that's why he was there, though he had secrets of his own to no one's knowledge, and he wanted to keep it that way, at least for as long as he could. Cal and Sandra both feeling the same guilt look at Larry, and with her hand held out, Sandra reassured him that it couldn't be his fault. How could he have even known it would be there? It's not your fault. And we all blamed ourselves for being upset with Laura, for not believing you. And she was an innocent victim, just as much as the rest of us. And your grandfather? We're going to get this Chupacabra for them, so Laura's family and you, to Larry, can have some sort of closure. His eyes down for a brief moment, then looked into Sandra's eyes, and after a moment said, Let's get that fucker tomorrow night, it's do or die, and I ain't dying yet, so let's drag its ugly hide back to hell where it belongs. Larry spit in the dirt. He felt like he had his old self back. Father Flanagan laughed at his pal. All right, well, isn't that the Lawrence Whitfield that I remember? Well then, Father Santoro will assist us, as he reads the scrolls aloud once we've drawn it out. Let me gather my instruments from my apartment, and well, set off at dawn early tomorrow morning. Sandra's eyes lit up, and with her voice in a falsetto British accent, All right, that's enough Chupacabra talk for the night. Come on, guys, let's go eat already. She laughs as they leave the church behind, watching the last bit of sun sink behind the mountains off in the distance. A slight shudder felt. She just brushed it off as hunger. All agree in unison as a few stomachs grumble, and the group take their leave from the church and head off into the remaining daylight. After dinner, the troupe head back off to their motel for the night, and once again, Father Santoro reminds them they should all get some sleep. Cannot be up watching television or on your phones, and absolutely no sleeping pills, as they would slow their systems and couldn't react quick enough. And as tired as they are, if we confront this thing, gonna need all the fight in them that they could bring. Sandra spoke up. Not going to lie, I am going to have a few strong drinks. It would help. No offense, Father. but it would help me a bit. Father Flanagan, pushing his glasses back up, chimes in. Well, yeah, I'm with you on that. I think a nice glass of Merlot will do just fine. Larry chuffs in agreement. I do believe that they have a good point. Some good old liquid courage before bed sounds mighty nice. Sandra and Cal had the same thoughts. These old guys were too much, yet they couldn't help but admire their friendship. Do what you have to do, but keep in mind, moderation is key. Can't have you all showing up with hangovers, says Father Flanagan. Larry knew he'd been known to knock a few back in the day when they were just a couple of crazy teenagers, the group all not in agreement that no one was going to drink that much, for they all knew what awaited them. They would have to get their heads in the game, knowing that this was more serious than ever, and it had to go without a hitch, or any mistake whatsoever. The foursome of Cal, Sandra, Larry, and Father Flanagan all part from Father Santoro after dinner and a few but moderate drinks, and set off to the local motel, where they had been now for almost 4 days, retreating into each individual's room, knowing that the next day was the day of reckoning. Sandra back in her room, as she tries as she might to fall asleep, fighting to stay awake, in fear of another nightmare, but finally succumbs, her exhausted mind drifting off, her subconscious filling her mind with terror, and yet a sense of peace warmed over her. The next day would be the day of reckoning, for a beast so foul even hell spat it out, leaving its unholy mark upon the world. A town once cursed could be lifted, yet the feeling in the air was as somber as a funeral. No one could foresee the shadow that was about to reign over them. End Bloodlines Chupacabra. Chapter 9. Into the Void. Can you feel the density in the air as the electricity gets heavier? You might find yourselves feeling as if something is growing on the distant horizon, the way a raging storm does as you see lightning flash and thunder crack within the dark clouds that loom before you, does dread fills your thoughts. Or perhaps it is the calm before the storm, and this is only the opening act. I guess we'll find out, won't we?